Hello, my name is Dan and welcome to my garden here in Essex in the southeast of the UK. So I'm a very keen grower of fruit and vegetables, and you can see here I have some aubergine plants and also some aubergines that are doing quite well. So today I'm going to be making a video showing you how you can grow aubergines if you live in a colder climate. So aubergines, otherwise known as eggplant, brinjal or talong, and of course there will be other names as well, and you can grow them in a cooler climate such as the UK, and honestly speaking these have been relatively trouble free. So today I'm going to make a video and give you some ideas on hopefully how you can do the same. Aubergines are high in fibre and high in antioxidants, and they're said to have beneficial properties for those who have diabetes and high blood pressure. So have a look into those beneficial properties, and certainly are some very good reasons to grow aubergines. And of course, so many different ways to cook them as well. A very versatile and tasty fruit to grow indeed. Please feel free to like this video and share it with anyone you think may be interested. And if you'd like to be notified of any further videos I put up, please feel free to subscribe. When growing aubergines in countries such as the UK, or indeed similar climates with a shorter growing season, you want to be choosing early ripening varieties. So I have two varieties here. This variety here is Czech Early, and that is from the Czech Republic. They end up about the size of a pear, it's said, when they are fully ripe. And here I have a variety called Long Purple, which is bred for European conditions. Aubergines in the UK tend to start ripening in around August time, but you can see here this variety, Czech Early, this specimen here is actually ripening now. We're in late July, so I'm very grateful for that. Now, you generally pick them when they're shiny, and you don't want to leave them hanging about too long. Aubergines will generally keep for about a week or so after you pick them. So very happy with how this is turning out. So when growing aubergines, what you need to do is make sure that you sow them early. I sown these on the 17th of February, I believe, in trays of multi-purpose compost. It was around that time. And what I got here, some of them I actually initially brought on in these little plug trays here, but ideally what you want to do is have them in a pot about this size, like that sort of thing, so you don't have to later transplant them before you put them into their final pot or into the ground, so to speak. Now, good place to keep them is on a south-facing windowsill, which is what I did. So something like this, your windowsill propagator like this, and you put your multi-purpose compost in, then you put your seed in, multi-purpose compost on top, and then what you can do is simply put the top of your propagator like that. That gives them a little bit of warmth. So you want to have them at a minimum of about 20 degrees C, which is around 68 degrees Fahrenheit, which is why you want to be germinating them inside. Certainly in February, very, very unlikely you'll be able to germinate them outside unless you have a heated polytunnel or greenhouse. So I didn't want my plants to go leggy, so I brought them out here around April time. So we were still getting frosts at that time. Now aubergines don't like to go down below about 10 degrees C, which is about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and I think around that time we had literally a whole week of frosts, and I think we had the coldest spring for 50 years here in the UK. So there we are. Now, aubergine plants in there, what I did, put them in a polystyrene container such as this with the lid on, and that protected them from frosts overnight. And this was a very effective way actually of getting many delicate plants through that colder period, because you don't want to be leaving your plants inside for too long because they can go weak and leggy. You need to get them outside. So protection like this, no problem at all. This Long Purple aubergine here I planted out in this pot on the 2nd of May. There are 3 Czech Early plants in here which I planted out on the 8th of May. This Long Purple aubergine, there's 2 here in this pot, they were planted out on the 8th of May. 3 in this pot planted out on the 9th of May, and these are Czech Early aubergine. You could see in the case of these I've got numerous plants in one container, but what I would have ideally done would have been to have had 1 plant per container. So I'd have chosen a 20-litre container, about that, which is about 4.4 imperial gallons or about 5.3 US gallons. That way the plant would be able to obtain more nutrients from the growing medium there, because only 1 plant in the pot. But so that's something for the future, but this has worked. I did it mainly to do with space saving. So with regards to growing medium, you want something that's fertile, something that holds water but doesn't get waterlogged. So if you're using your own growing medium, some nice well-made compost from your compost bin would be great. Well-rotted manure would be good. A bit of leaf mould in there would be lovely. If you're going to be buying growing medium, something like John Innes number 2 would be a good one as well. But what I used actually was I bought a 1.4 tonne bag of compost from a company called, it was Beaver Compost, and that was very good indeed. So you may wish to look into that, but giving you a few options there, so take your pick. I've been watering these about 3 times a week. I give them about 4 litres of water. I use rainwater. I water with a watering can straight into the growing medium, and I don't want them to be overly soggy, but I certainly want there to be a nice little bit of damp moisture, so to speak, when you fill the growing medium. I don't let them dry out, but yet I don't waterlog them, so keep an eye on that. But they will benefit from about watering 3 times a week, about 4 litres of rainwater, and I think you should do well with that. Let's talk about pollination. So aubergines are self-fertile, meaning that all the parts are in the flower in order to set fruit. They don't need a pollination partner, but what you can do is you can gently tap the flowers there to help the pollen move around it. I didn't do that. In fact, I made no effort at all to hand pollinate them. What I did was I left them in my polytunnel there. I've only brought them out of the polytunnel here just whilst I'm making this video, but bees go in there, hoverflies, etc., flies, and they've of course probably helped very much with the pollination for me. And of course wind does get in there as well, and that can help to move the pollen around the flower. But I have heard about some people using electric toothbrushes for that sort of thing. But give them a bit of a helping hand. Let's say you're growing them inside on an indoor windowsill, then just go up to them, shake the flower a little bit like that. So you can feed them about once every 2 weeks with a high potassium fertilizer once they start to set some fruit, and do that up until you pick your last fruit. But I think I've only fed these once actually, and that was the other day, long after they started setting fruit. So that shows just how much nutrients is within this compost. But so something like an organic tomato feed would be good. That's higher in potassium in order to hopefully help the flower and then fruit production, and not too much in terms of nitrogen in terms of leaf production, because you want mainly fruit. So something like that you could look into doing. Now I've been very lucky. I don't seem to have any pests on these. Got a few holes in one of the leaves here, but nothing of any consequence. So aubergine plants can get white flies, they can get aphids and red spider mites, things like that. So with regards to the white fly and the aphids, something like this is really good. I use this, you know, squirt like that, you know, you could squirt off things. I use this on like runner bean flowers to remove black fly. That's a good idea. With regards to something like red spider mites, they like hot and humid conditions, so when you're growing them in, say, a polytunnel, something like that, what you want to do is make sure you keep the doors open, keep the vents open, plenty of air in there. That should hopefully avoid you getting red spider mites on your aubergine plants. So when growing aubergines, nice warm temperature is very, very important. So you want to be aiming between 20 to 30 degrees C, which is about 68 to 86 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's quite tricky to achieve sometimes in a climate such as the UK. So where did I like to grow them is in a polytunnel. My polytunnel here. Now many of you out there will not have a polytunnel, so what you could consider maybe doing is growing them in a cold frame, or maybe a mini grow house, something like that. Greenhouse if you've got one. Now if you are going to grow them outside, which I wouldn't actually do myself, but if I didn't have any other choice, then I would consider it, what you want to be doing is just make sure you can get that area as warm as you can. So south facing wall or fence, and what you can do is maybe put a bit of black plastic at the bottom, something like that, to hold the warmth from the sun into the growing medium below, and that will help you. But certainly a nice warm temperature. They're not the sort of plant you just stick in the ground anywhere in the garden and hope for the best. So go for a nice warm microclimate. So with some of these taller plants, or indeed any of them, I could consider staking them with something like a bamboo cane, but I'm not going to be doing that. I've also heard about people pinching out the tops as well to then allow the plant to bush out and hopefully get more fruit. But once again, that's something I'm not going to be doing. And of course, some people, even I've seen them, they want to remove flowers. So when you've got bigger varieties, maybe after the plant has set about 5 or 6, so let's say here we'd probably set about 5 or 6 here, then some people may consider removing some of the other flowers to allow the plant to concentrate its energy onto the existing fruit it's already set. But I'm going to be leaving all of these and just let them do their thing, and we shall see what happens. Anyway, there's some information on how to grow aubergines in colder climates, so hope you've enjoyed that. If you've got any questions or comments on that, please feel free to post them down below and I'll get back to you hopefully. So if you like my work, please feel free to like and share, and if you'd like to be notified of any further videos I put up, please feel free to subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you very much for viewing. See you soon.